Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our very last Master the Basics for our TM6. We are almost at the end of our sales of our TM6, which will be a very sad day. It's a model that we have absolutely loved for the last almost 5 years. So tonight we are going to share lots of tips and tricks with you so that you can absolutely enjoy your TM6 for the rest of its days. So quickly, my name is Victoria. Victoria Frost. I am one of the team leaders in WA here.
And I'm Rebecca Hayward, another team leader in WA. I came on board about 3 years ago, but I've been a Thermomix user for about 13 years. But Victoria and I are best buddies, and she finally got me to join, and I've not looked back.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And my journey started 8 years ago, and before that I was not a cook. My husband is chef trained, so he was the cook in our family, and it was him that wanted the Thermomix, but he convinced me after 3 years of trying that it was a good idea. So that was 8 years ago, and I've since learned to cook, and now teaching you guys all about what I've learned along my journey. So that's not us.
And now it's crazy. We teach cooking classes.
I know, right? So fun. So thanks for joining us for the ride this evening. And for those that are watching the replay, thanks for watching. All right, should we hand over to what are we doing?
Should we quickly, for the people that are online deciding whether they want to go for a TM6, we've just laid out everything that you can get with it at the moment. So currently there is a trade-up offer. So if you have an older model of Thermomix, then you might like to consider the trade-up offer, where you can get $680 off the Thermomix, and you can get all of these freebies that you can see out the front here. So we've got the glider board, the second bowl blade and lid, the blade cover or peeler. We have the spiralizer and the cutter, which grates and slices. So many free things. If you don't have a Thermomix and you don't want to trade in, that's fine. You still get all of those things, but you also get the 12 months of Cookadoo subscription for free as well. If you don't have a Thermomix to trade in, you're a non-Thermomix owner, maybe you have another appliance you can trade in. So speak to your consultant about what you can get for that as well.
And maybe they know somebody that wants to purchase a machine, in which case until the 2nd of June, if you recommend somebody to purchase a machine, then you can get yourself a $100 Mix Shop voucher, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
So we've got lots of messages to share with you tonight, as well as obviously all the tips and tricks. Should we get started?
Yes.
Okay, so you're cooking. What are you cooking tonight?
So I am going to do browned onions, and I'm going to do pumpkin soup, which is delicious.
Cool.
What about
yourself? I will be sharing how to make some butter, and also how to make some bread, and all the tips in between. Yeah. So I'll let you get started.
Excellent. Do you want to zoom in on my screen?
Yes, I will do.
So my first tip is we're going to be browning onions tonight. So hold on, I'm not in the screen. There we go. Hold on, I'll stand behind.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way. Good start, Frosty. All right.
She's not great with the camera. Okay, so we're going to be browning onions. Now, browning onions is something that you couldn't do in the previous models of the Thermomix. So you need the high heat of the TM6 and beyond to be able to brown your onions. So, and in the TM6, you need to be in a recipe to use high heat for your onions, whatever you're sauteing. So I just wanted to show you quickly. Actually, you might not be able to see it from there. But there is, she's going to zoom. There is a whole collection called high heat onions in Cookadoo, or there's high heat basics, and you can save that whole collection onto your Thermomix so that you can easily get to it. So if you're doing an old recipe, say for that might have been your favorite TM31 or your TM5, and it doesn't use high heat mode when browning the onions, you can use one of these recipes to brown your onions and then flick over and brown them from there. All right, so before we do that, I'm actually going to show you how to use the cutter. So if you want to zoom out a teensy bit. Oh my gosh.
Good.
Sorry. All right, so this is the cutter, which comes for free with the Thermomix at the moment. So if you've just recently purchased, then you will have one because it came for free. So first thing you need to do when you get it out of the box is make sure that you don't throw out the shaft, which happens. People throw it out. So that just sits inside the Thermomix bowl on top of the blades, and that's what does its work. If you find that your cutter's not doing anything, it's generally because you forgot to put the shaft in. Then we have this part of the cutter, which is like a just like a bowl for all of your cuttings to go into. And then this is your blade, which grates and slices. Now, you'll see on the blade, it will have pictures of grating and on one side and pictures of slicing on the other side. So you want to have whatever you're doing in your cutter, you want that side to be facing up. So we are going to be slicing our onions tonight. So we're going to make that facing up. And then we pop this on top like so. Now, if you have a TM6, then there will be a preset mode. So you don't have to remember which direction to turn blades. You just go from your home screen, you just flick across. If you're facing your machine, you flick across to the left and then you select slicing. And whenever you select a preset mode, it will come up with the instructions. You can click don't show this again, and you can always bring it back with the little eye in the corner, or you can just leave them to come up each time. And for this one, we can select thick or thin. For browning onions, thick is best. You don't want them too thin. Just grab them. And then we just select thick and feed the onion. So the onion has to fit through the hole in the lid on your cutter. And you just keep going. Victoria and I have done
20 kilos.
20 kilos of onions for the PNC bake sale. Bake sale, the barbecue. They don't usually use onions in the bake sale. So there we go. And then you've got all of your onions in your bowl. And then my big tip here is you go, wow, look how clean my bowl is. And you remove the shaft because you don't want to then grate the shaft up on the next step when we're cooking. So that is the cutter. And I find that really handy when we're doing lots of food prep, like slicing 20 kilos of onions or taco night or something like that, potato bake. All right, so now I'm going to flick over to the browned onion recipe. So from the home screen, you can click on the three little lines and go, I've got it saved into my, my meal plan for the week. So if we go into there, I've got lightly browned onions, which is one of the things from the high heat basics. And then I can click on start cooking. So it says 20 grams of olive oil, but I'm going to use a combination of butter and olive oil because I'm going to then use these onions in my pumpkin soup. And I want the butter flavour. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit more. You have creative license when it comes to your cooking.
I love that. Creative license.
Yeah. And then it says 200 to 300 grams of onion cut into wedges, but we've just done slices. There we go. All in there. Next. And then we have our splash guard. So when you're using high heat mode, it will always ask you for a splash guard because that will cover the hole in the lid and get locked in place so that you can't get splashes. Do you want to just zoom out slightly? I can see where the splash guard goes.
Of course.
So the splash guard just sits like that. And then on the next step, you click done. And then you have 12 minutes maximum speed and high heat. And we're just going to click that on there. So now that blade cover is locked in place and it can't move, and that will then stop any oil splatters from coming outside of the Thermomix. So it's a safety thing having that splash guard. And the splash guard is only to be used when you're using high heat mode. It's not interchangeable with anything else. So sorry about the camera work.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I need
hope
a
I'm
new job.
explaining it well enough.
Yeah, sorry. I need a new job. All right.
Okay, so while those onions are browning, I'm going to take over the camera work so that Victoria, you can actually see what she's doing.
Okay, please. Okay, so I'm going to be making some butter. So to do that, I'm actually going to use the machine manually. So Rebecca's been using a recipe, and I'm going to show you for those that perhaps are really confident cooks and they don't want to follow a recipe, or you're considering upgrading from a TM31. So you're going to have to come over to my side now, Rebecca. The most important thing is that you're using cream from the fridge. So it needs to be really cold. Hopefully that's, so I'd like you to zoom out and see me, please, because I'm the most important. All right.
I noticed that I wasn't on camera the whole time, but sure.
You told me you wanted to show the machine. All right, to make butter, we need one of our attachments, which is the butterfly whisk. Now, this comes as a attachment with it included when you purchase your machine. So the trick for using the butterfly, funny because we've just done a YouTube, anyway. All right, so the butterfly, I don't know if you'll be able to see from there. You'll have to zoom in now. So the butterfly, there's a little blade symbol that's underneath the high blade. So to find the high blade, it's the one that sits up. So you'll see that all the other ones fall down from the base. The one that goes up, that's your high blade. So how I remember is that you go to the left of your high blade, knock it to the left, and then it's locked in place. So it's not going to come off. Not so much of a problem. Thanks, Beck. Not so much of a problem when you're just doing butter or cream. However, if you've got a risotto or a fruity dream, which is one of our soft serve ice creams, that will possibly dislodge your butterfly if it's not secure. Now, one of the best tips is that your Thermomix is going to save you a ton of money. In fact, it's actually going to pay for itself. So one of those ways that you can do that is by making some really basic things in your machine, which is why we're doing our master the basics for you guys tonight, so that you're learning some of the basics. So I'm going to put my butterfly on, and then I've bought a large amount of cream because it's a lot cheaper, and when you're buying in bulk, so we do go to Costco quite a bit actually. I might need to, can you do preset 3 for me? Oh, that's no. One. Yeah. Sorry, Beck. All right.
I thought you knew something I didn't.
Okay. So this is your manual cooking screen. So you've got your time, your temperature, and your speed. And when you touch the icon, it enlarges it, and that means it's selected. So for example, we select our time, temperature. 120 degrees is the hottest that your TM6 will go up to. And then the last temperature is Verona. So I can show you a tip. So to clear that, you can just hold the button down and it will clear. Otherwise, the other way that you can do it is by swiping up or down, and that will clear the button. Now, what I want to do is actually access the scales. So I'm going to swipe towards the Vorwerk sign and find my scales. All right, so that's activated now. If you want to test your scales, you can weigh your measuring cup, your TM6 measuring cup, which is how much?
Between 80 and 85 grams.
There you go. So 80 and 85 grams. So we're going to weigh in around probably, you can do maybe up to 600. I don't need a lot of butter, so I'm just going to probably do about 500. And you'll see that the scales on the TM6 are actually in increments of 1. You want to be, I'll need to take 2 grams out now. No, I won't. All right.
The glider board is one thing that protects the scales as well.
Yes.
So it saves you from somebody accidentally dragging your Thermomix on the bench.
Can you zoom up for me a little bit? Just a tiny bit.
Out or in?
Out. So now another tip, you actually don't have to push the cross. You can just go straight onto what the speed that, like turning the speed selector, and that will actually just go straight to activating those blades for you, but you can go cross and go back to home. So what we're doing now is speed 4 is the highest speed that you can use your butterfly. And I'm just going to whip some cream. So I've only just bought this today. So the cream's going to, can you go up? Because they're just looking at the floor. Sorry. She was giving me a go. All right, that's cream for you. And how long? So that's 30 seconds for fresh cream. I've just purchased that today. So the cows only just made it yesterday. All right, so there's your cream. Whipped cream in 30 seconds. So you have to watch it because it will turn really quick. I would recommend if you're whipping cream, maybe just do it on speed 3. Otherwise, it'll go very, very quick.
So we're going to turn the machine back onto speed 4 now to finish off our butter. And what we're waiting for is just that buttermilk to separate from the butter, and that's when you'll know that it's done. So that's going to take about a minute with our fresh cream.
All right. So what we've got here is that you'll be able to hear the swishing of the buttermilk. And then I've got my thermoserver here that's just going to collect my buttermilk. And what you can make with buttermilk is beautiful buttermilk pancakes. We've got buttermilk scones. And in the oven right now, I've got some buttermilk bread. Now, I'm just going to squeeze all the buttermilk out, or as much as I can, because we don't want to waste that. So that's even just by pushing it with a spatula, you can get quite a bit out. All right. Now, if I'm going to use that butter pretty soon, it's ready to eat now. But if I'd like to keep it a little bit longer, then I'll need to wash all the buttermilk off. So that butter will last until the 29th of May, because that's when my cream goes off. But I would like to keep it a little bit longer than that. I probably don't, but I just want to show you. So now I've got our buttermilk, which we're going to use for buttermilk bread. And now using very cold water, so this is freezing cold water, I'm going to pour that in. You can actually take the butterfly out as well for this, but I'm just going to whip it a little bit. Now it's actually the buttermilk that makes the butter go off. So if I've washed it a couple of times, then my butter is going to last a little bit longer. So I just, for a few seconds, I just whip that up with or without the butterfly. The recipe says don't have the butterfly, but that's okay. I'm just skipping a step. So you'll see that it's just starting to get washed. So I'll tip that out, that water. And then you can just do that process a couple of times until your butter runs clear.
And you can see Victoria used the steaming basket to rinse her, to pour out the buttermilk, because you can use your accessories as things like colanders and strainers. So now with my clean hands, you can squish it with the spatula, or you can put it in a chucks cloth and just remove all that buttermilk. And then you can just put it into the fridge. But I thought I'd bring our buttermilk, the butter bell, which is available on the Mix shop. So for those of you who are new to the Mix shop, that's our online accessory shop. And if you haven't yet signed up, we do have a rewards program where you can get a $15 voucher when you sign up to that. So check that out before you make a purchase. But we'll show you a few things from the Mix shop tonight. So just adding a little bit of water to the base of my butter bell, and then I change that water probably every day or every couple of days. And then that can sit on your bench, and you've got fresh spreadable butter all ready for your toast or your bread. Yeah. And the water stops the air getting to it, and it stops the ants.
Yes.
It's very clever.
Very clever. Now, you can also flavor your butter. So if you'd like flavored butter, you could add some herbs and garlic. or you could add some honey to make it a little bit sweet. The other thing you could do, if you want it spreadable and to keep longer, you could put a little bit of olive oil in, and you can put it salted as well. So this is a really great base recipe for you, and you can just make it your own. Okay, so while Rebecca's doing finishing her onions, can I go on with the bread, or do you want me to wait?
I have 12 seconds.
You go then.
Okay.
You go, girl.
It
All right.
smells so good. Just letting you know. Hold on. I'll just.
Luckily, I haven't eaten my dinner yet.
I will come over to preset 3. So, oh, look at that.
Okay, I'll fix it up. I've learnt my lesson now.
Hold on. Take a little bit. Okay, now you can see the whole Thermomix. Okay, so we've just finished browning our onions. You don't have to do it for the full 12 minutes. 5 minutes is generally enough if you're just adding something to a recipe, but it makes beautiful. Hold on, can you see?
Oh, sorry.
On the thing. No, it's okay. There's your browned onions, and you could not do that in the old Thermomixes. So this is one of the most exciting parts of the TM6 over the older models, and you can actually see the browning on the bottom of the bowl, which is what we want because it draws out the flavour for everything. So I'm just going to pop that back on there, and then I'm going to. You can click next and finish off the recipe. It actually chops them up a little bit for you in there, but we're going to do that on the next step of the of our pumpkin soup recipe. So I'm just going to go the 3 little lines and go back to my week where I have my recipe saved and click on pumpkin soup. Now, a little tip here is if you have already done a step and you,
sorry, I was zooming in.
You are fired. Okay, so the first part of the pumpkin soup recipe is to put the onions in there and brown them, but obviously we've already done that. So we're going to skip straight to step 3 so that we can start adding our pumpkin and going on with that. So I have my pumpkin chopped up, ready to go. There we go. Now, a little tip when you're doing hard things, cut them into sort of ice cube size or smaller. If something says to cut something into pieces, make sure that it's small enough to go through the hole in the lid. The reason why you want smaller pieces is it will protect your blades and make them last longer. So I just put the lid on, so now I'm going to tear the scales. So we want 500 grams of pumpkin. Now, again, you've got creative control of your recipe. So if you want a thicker pumpkin soup, add more pumpkin. You can add different things to your pumpkin soup. You could even add some curry powder when you brown your onions. You could add some sweet potato. I know Victoria likes sweet potato with her pumpkin. That's just fallen on the floor. We'll skip that bit. So we've got 500 grams of pumpkin, 1 carrot.
I actually go way more pumpkin as well.
I could because I've got more pumpkin here, but I actually want to make the sweet potato frittata tomorrow because I need some things in the freezer.
Should I zoom in?
I need a measuring cup. So we've got all of those things in there. And then on the next step, we've got 15 seconds. It doesn't have a temperature and it says turn speed selector to speed 7. And you can kind of see that it's highlighted around to a certain point. If I give it a really big turn, it won't go past speed 7, but you still have that manual control. So on a second turn, you could go faster if you wanted to.
And I love on the TM6 how the measuring cup stays in place, so it doesn't bounce around. You don't have to hold it. Yeah.
Done. So 15 seconds and we've gone from ice cube sized chunks
go up
to like that
pureed-ish
pumpkin and carrot. Thank you. Which is helpful for some things.
Helpful for a few things.
So I'm just going to scrape down the sides. I predicted the next step. All right, so now we need 500 grams of water to taste.
Oh, you can use some of mine if you want.
Thank you. So 500 grams of water. And again, you could add a little bit less water if you wanted it thicker, or you could add more pumpkin.
I like less water.
Yeah.
Because I like it thicker.
She's hinting because she did say she was eating this pumpkin soup for dinner. So she would like me to make it to her taste. So we'll go 400 grams.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
You can mix and match.
We'll go 400 grams of water, and then Victoria will feel satiated. All right, I'm just scraping everything off the lid. There we go. Next, 1 tablespoon of vegetable stock paste. So vegetable stock paste is one thing that when you get your Thermomix, if you haven't had your consultant come around and do a delivery briefing with you, then do so. If you don't have vegetable stock paste in your fridge or freezer, this is a staple for a lot of different recipes. And some people would say that it can't be swapped out for if it asks for chicken stock paste or meat stock paste. I did that for many, many years. So as long as you've got this one staple in your fridge, then that will...
and what a huge money saver that is. I think it's about 50 cents for a litre. So you just work out how much you're spending on your stock.
On liquid stock. If you've got good quality liquid stock, you're spending like $5 a litre, 50 cents for a litre with this. And you can use up your old vegetables that haven't gone mouldy yet, but not quite well enough to eat. Okay, so 20 minutes, 100 degrees, it sets those two things for you, and then it just tells you to turn it to speed 1.
Oh,
and
you need the
give
basket, don't you?
Yeah.
Why do you have to have the basket?
So the basket is for when you're cooking over 95 degrees. It will ask you to put the basket on instead of the measuring cup, and that is because it will allow more steam out, and it's a safety thing as well. And you've got
it like thickens your soup.
Allows your soup to thicken. You can also over in the top right hand corner, there's a preview button. So if you wanted to see what the next steps were, so you could start prepping what was coming up, you can press preview. There's also 3 little dots.
Let me just zoom in one moment, please, caller.
Thank you. If you just go preset 3, it'll go.
I did, but it doesn't. Oh my God, you've made such a mess again.
I know. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So you can press preview and you can preview what's coming up in a recipe like so. So I can say, okay, I'll get my whipping cream out. Thank you, Assistant Victoria. And you can also go here and go scales, and you can use the scales while you're cooking. So you would just pop another bowl on top of the Thermomix and weigh in what you needed to. You can tear the scales and you can keep going from there. So that is something that I really loved about the TM6 as well, that you could weigh while you were cooking. So I've got 18 minutes. So over to you, Victoria.
Okay. So now
I'm camera for you.
Oh, thank you. Now I'm going to be making some bread. They need to be able to see me. Okay, actually, all right. So bread, I'm going to need to show them the screen. Sorry. All right, so Rebecca showed you how she had meal planned, didn't you?
Yes.
So, and I've shown you on this side of the, get home. So this is your home screen. On that side, you've got all your modes. And then on the other side, we have access to Cookie-Doo. So Cookie-Doo is our recipe platform, and we have over 100,000 recipes at your fingertips. So you are never not sure what to make. Well, maybe you are because you're overwhelmed, but I can show you later how you can refine your filters. So I haven't cleaned the bowl because it doesn't matter, but I'm going to type in, we've got some buttermilk to use up now. So I'm going to type in buttermilk. So you can type in an ingredient, you could type in you don't even have to spell it right and it will work. You can type in an ingredient, you could do a theme like gluten-free, probably not for this recipe, but, well, you could. Gluten-free, you could do whichever sort of theme. Now I have actually pre-made this one that says buttermilk loaf baked in the cast iron pot because that's my favorite. But for you guys, I'm just going to show you how to make the buttermilk bread loaf. So you can see on here that there's star ratings. You guys can actually rate the recipes once you've made them, but this is a really good one. It's like 4.5 stars and 200 people have rated it, and it's 2 hours long. So I'm going to click on the picture. Rebecca's shown you how you can scroll down and have a look all around the recipe. Now, if I wanted to, there's some recipes that you can actually scale up or down. So I'll show you later on Cookie Doo how you can do that. But I would recommend, if you haven't made a recipe before, just check out right at the bottom of the page, because it does have useful tips usually. So we'll go start cooking. Now I'm going to weigh in our buttermilk, which we have pre-made. Here's some I prepared earlier. Just a little important note, if you do make your own buttermilk as opposed to buying it from the supermarket, I tend to find you don't need as much because, am I pouring it everywhere?
No.
What?
Way.
Oh my Lord. We need some tips on, like, maybe we need a technician to come and do our classes for us. Okay, so you need less buttermilk because it's quite runny compared to, what are you doing? Like, you've cut my head off. All right. So you it's quite runny compared to the thick stuff that you buy from the supermarket. So I tend to scale it down a little bit. Now, the scales on the recipes, they come up automatically, which is just awesome. And when you click next, they reset. So we need a little bit more water, so 200. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to just use the rest of this buttermilk because it's watery. And there's only a little bit left, and then I'll use the rest of water.
Waste less.
Yeah, that's it. And also, as a ratio, you get around half the amount of buttermilk to butter. So, for example, we put in 500 grams of cream, and we made about half of that. That was buttermilk. All right, so we've got our water in. Now we're going to use our yeast. I probably should have opened this before. But if you were buying, so I buy it in bulk because I do make quite a lot, but you can buy the individual sachets. If you're buying it in bulk like I have, I would recommend leaving it in the fridge or the freezer, because otherwise your yeast, it's just dried yeast, but it won't stay active. Okay, so now we're going to warm up that liquid. So we just add a lid. And now that's going to warm up to 37 degrees, which is the temperature that we need for our yeast to activate. And if it's not freezing cold water that you've added, there will be a little temperature. So we've got it set for 37, and it's a large number. But just above it, you'll see another little number that pops up. 37 degrees is the first registered temperature that the Thermomix will be able to, it just comes up.
Yeah. So when it comes up, you can stop it.
Yeah, you can stop the machine. So to stop your machine, if you're wanting to check what's going on inside, or if it's got to the temperature that you're wanting, you can just push the speed selector in, and that will stop it, and the arms will unlock for you. Now, while that's happening, did you show the preview?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you can preview, and then it will tell you the next steps, but we obviously have shown you that already. So I'm going to take this minute to show you a couple of the accessories that I'm going to use tonight. So actually, I need to take my bread out. Do you reckon you feel comfortable to do that?
I am going to use gloves.
I just need the lid off.
Okay. I can do that.
All right. So I've actually got inside, we've got in the oven at the moment is the cast iron pot. And my bread, this one uses 500 grams, the recipe I'm making right now. I used 500 grams of flour, but I've used 800 grams for the one that's in the oven. So it's quite a large loaf, and it looks amazing. Yes. And then you'll have to activate the sensor. So I have got the Thermomix sensor inside the oven, and it's a probe that's inside the bread, like half of it's inside the bread. We'll show you when it comes out. Now that's actually going to tell me when my bread is cooked. So for anybody who loves the perfect bread or is not real confident with, you know, when they say with cakes, until the skewer is clear, and I take it out and then it like sags in the middle because it's not cooked, the Thermomix sensor to the rescue. So that's for cakes, bread, and for if you're barbecuing, perfect steaks, turkey, any meat as well. So that actually Bluetooths to your Thermomix, to the TM6 and TM7, and it will get an alert on the Thermomix to let us know that our bread is cooked. So that's one accessory. The next one is our beautiful Thermomat. So this is going to, oh, is it too hot again?
No connection. Oh, you're going to put that near the oven.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So the Thermomat is going to keep our dough nice and warm so that it can prove for us. If you don't have one of these, then you can just put it into a bowl and cover it with Glad wrap or a towel, an oiled bowl. But these mats are amazing. I love, love, love them and use it so much. And they are available on the Mix shop, but you can also get it as a host reward, which at the moment, the host reward comes with the beautiful, it's a rose gold bread tin. Oh, thanks. All right, I'll come back to my accessories. I didn't mention actually when I was pouring the yeast in to pour it around the blade so that it doesn't sit on the top of the blade. So our next step is to add our baker's flour. So I just buy my baker's flour from Coles or Woolworths, but you can go to specialty bread stores and get like better quality stuff. So it comes like in a big 5-kilo bag for about $12-ish. But it makes beautiful pizza dough, breads, lots and lots of options. So I do use it a lot. Scrolls, yes, lots of scrolls. Okay, finger buns. My goodness, just the world's your oyster. All right, so we're going to go 500 grams of our baker's flour. Now, the reason we use baker's flour is because it's more glutinous than your regular baking or standard flour. So it's the protein level is higher, so it's better for yeast. So we just need a little bit of salt now. And the recipe doesn't ask for this, but there are lots of bread recipes that will ask for bread improver. You can purchase a bread improver, but if you wanted to go a little bit more natural, I'm just using a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that will help just to provide, so about a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. It just adds a little bit more improvement to your dough. So the quality of your dough, and also it might last a little bit longer as well, because there's no additives in this beautiful dough, so it doesn't last a super long time like your stuff that you buy from the supermarket.
Yes, bread doesn't get moldy anymore from the supermarket.
No, it doesn't. Not for a long. It doesn't. Not for. Well, I haven't actually bought any for a very long time from the supermarket.
No.
So that's just mixed up our bread. So it's just mixed it, and now what we're going to do is knead. So it says keep the measuring cup in. We've activated that knead mode on our Thermomix now, and you don't have to have the measuring cup in, because you can actually watch it and it will spin around and then it will drop and then it spins the other way. So our Thermomix is going to save us lots of minutes of hand kneading if you are somebody that likes to make bread. So I think it's about 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes of hand kneading is 1 minute in the Thermomix. So we're only kneading for about 3 minutes at this stage, but the loaf that I did in the oven was for 10 minutes. So over to, back to my accessories. And then, so we've got this beautiful bread tin. So it's great for making sandwich loaves if you would like the lid on, or you can make it a little bit more rustic and just make loaves, and then it'll be a higher loaf. All right. Fantastic. Well, I'll put this aside. How's your How's your soup going?
My soup has 6 minutes and 51 seconds left, and your bread in the oven has approximately 3 minutes. I might show you what the sensor looks like. Do you want to zoom in on the screen because you can see the sensor telling us how long there is to go. So we've selected basic dough. So, so in 3 minutes approximately, because it uses the time, it uses the temperature, then it should reach 96 degrees, which is what it will be perfect for your dough.
However, I'm just actually, because the oven's quite hot, I'm going to take it out maybe in like 1 minute.
Okay.
Because it's quite brown on the top. All right.
Cool.
So I might change the, no, I'll leave it like that. That's fine. Okay. Is there any questions?
No.
Okay. All right. So I do lightly oil my bread mat. Maybe while we're waiting for 1 minute. It's okay. Lightly oil my bread mat. These are amazing for making scrolls. So you'll see in a minute when I get the dough out, you can actually roll it into like a rectangle, and fill it with Vegemite and cheese, which the cheese you can grate in your Thermomix. So you can either use the grater, although for scrolls you can just chop it in the Thermomix because it's all going to melt. And then you can put Vegemite and cheese, or you could put ham and pizza sauce, spinach, olives. You could go wild.
Yeah.
And then you just roll it up.
Jalapeno.
Oh my gosh, that's going a bit crazy.
Sun-dried tomato.
Oh yeah, I do that. Now when I'm doing my scrolls, because you make scrolls lots, don't you? Do you do the trick?
I do the floss.
The floss trick.
But there are lots of people that think you should cut each line before you roll them.
Oh, individually.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops, I didn't show the trick. Okay. So I was just chatting as if we were at home. Okay, so when you finished your dough, beautiful dough, right, we just tip it upside down, and the base of the blades, you just give them a little wiggle. You're like, wiggle, wiggle, let me jiggle, jiggle. Okay. All right, and then all the dough, I pushed it in so that I could show you. Most of the dough will come out. Just be careful if you've got a new TM6 because the blades will be a little bit sharper. If there's any left though, you just can flick it off. So another little trick, maybe we can go onto here and I can show you. So if I'm in a recipe right now, but if you push the home key, it's going to bookmark the recipe for me. And then I've come out of that recipe and I'm taking over. I'm using the Thermomix how I want to. Whoops, I don't need the time. I've got another trick for you, Sarah. You probably knew this one already, but say you're on the time and you've got wet hands, you can just push the speed selector in and it'll jump over for you. And then, oh, I forgot to get the bread out. Luckily, the sensor reminded me.
Yeah.
And then you just flick the dough out onto the sides. I use it for when I'm baking as well, like the muffins and stuff. And so the dough's all been flicked up, and then I can just get it out with the spatula. All right, so now our dough's done. Oh, I guess I could show you the pre-clean. Oh my gosh,
I think good.
Yeah, I probably should have taken out when I said 1 minute to go, not the 3 minutes, but that's okay. Lucky it's just me eating it. All right, so your beautiful TM6 has got the most amazing function and it cleans itself, which I love. So we've got markers up the top of the bowl here. So I fill it up to 1 liter and then with water with a drip of dishwashing liquid. I'll need my measuring cup for this one. Otherwise we'll have a shower. Okay, so on your home screen, we're swiping to Vic and then we select the pre-clean. All the buttons are different on each machine because you can change the icons around. Okay, so when your Thermomix will come standard with an information page that comes up on most of the modes. So once you've read that and you're familiar with it, you can just tick, there's a little box that you can tick that says, don't show me this message again. It's always available for you on the little I button up the top right-hand corner. But on this one here, we've got, it goes straight to the mode then without, you can skip that step. Now I'm just going to select the dough mode, which will just warm the water up a little bit, and then it will start swishing it all around, and it'll clean the lid and all the sides. And then I just give it a rinse out, and I'm ready to get on with my next dish.
Beautiful.
All right. So, yes?
Do you want me to bring that over here now?
In a minute. So now with our dough, I just want to roll that into a little ball. And then we wrap it up like a little baby, and that's going to stay nice and warm. I've been talking, but I do that straight away so that, because that dough's being warmed up with the water. So we leave it like that, and it's going to, we'll rest it, and it will stay for maybe about half an hour, depending on how warm it is. And that's going to keep it nice and warm and improve for you. Now, if you've got a couple of options. If it's a really cold day where you live, you can use, there's a fermentation mode on your TM6 and your TM7, which you can use, put the Varoma lid on, and you can use that fermentation mode, which will create a really nice environment for your dough to improve. So it will keep it at 37 degrees for you. The other option is if you've got a thermo server like this, you can just put a little bit of water, warm water in the thermo server and rest it on there. Or you can put it in there, a warmed thermo server as well. So you've got lots of options for keeping your dough proved if it's cold.
Sunny spot.
Yeah, some people leave it on the bonnet of their car.
My laundry is always warm. I can put it in the laundry.
Yeah, or the hot water cupboard. All right. So, oh, my dough. I'll show you the finished product. Maybe I'll just show you quickly, actually, one more thing. One moment. All right, so pretend we've had half an hour. We're going to unravel our dough. Now, it will be doubled in size. So what you want to do is push all the air out, and then we create the shape that you would like your bread to be. So for the loaf that I've just done, I sort of made it into like a loaf shape, like that. But you could use your spatula to cut it, and you could make it into like 3 sort of reasonably even balls if you wanted to. I kind of like to make a little pocket of air and then roll it around. So you could put that like 3 balls into your bread tin so that they kind of rise like little hills.
Looks very artisan.
Yeah, it's very fancy.
Yeah.
So that's one option, and then it will. What you want to do once it's at the shape that you like, or you could make bread rolls as well, individual bread rolls. This is a great recipe for that. But you want to leave it to prove again, so it needs 2 proofs in the shape that that you've created. So maybe another half an hour, 40 minutes, just until it's doubled in size, and then you can pop it into a hot oven. If you're making bread in the morning before school, you can cheat and pop the bread into a cold oven, and it will do that second proof while the oven's heating up. The quality's not as good, but it's a good option. The kids won't care. All right. I think that
she laughs, but she does actually make fresh baked goods for her children in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know how she finds
Open a bakery.
Yeah.
All right. That one's a little bit brown.
I'm going to take the credit for this and show your bread without you here. Doesn't that look pretty?
We cooked it a little bit too long, but it's, oh my gosh.
Nice hollow sound is what you're looking for. Do you want?
I can
you're
probably
just going to not burn yourself.
Probably do it like this. All right.
This is the Furo cast iron pot that is in the, oh gosh, don't burn yourself. That is on the mix shop as well, and it's
amazing.
It's that's the Dutch oven. Yeah. And it's great for making your crusty loaves.
Don't forget the baking paper.
No.
We have done a class like this, and I forgot the baking paper, and then it stuck to the bottom, which was really fun. but baking paper all the way.
It does say in the recipe to use baking paper.
We just didn't read the recipe. Oh my gosh. It's like literally perfect. And I love the sensor. Love the sensor.
Excellent. All right, my pumpkin soup
Yes,
is
go.
ready for the next step. Do you want to
Turn you
Can I
over?
trust you with the camera?
Yes, you can trust me.
Okay. So I'm just going to get rid of the sensor. So it's finished the next step on there. So it's asking me to add some pouring cream. I'll say optional, but I don't think it's optional. So we're just going to add 30 grams of pouring cream. Oops, we're just going to tear the scales because I took the basket off. 30 grams. Just to make it super creamy. You could do coconut cream if you wanted a dairy-free option. And then pop the lid on because we don't want to paint the ceiling with pumpkin soup. We've got 1 minute, no temperature on speed 5, and then it does say to increase the speed to speed 9. So we're going to go around to speed 5, and then it's just a slow turn up to speed 9. So now that goes for 1 minute, and we're going to have perfectly pureed soup. Is my salt and pepper ready? All right. 16 seconds. I don't think you guys can hear it at the moment, but it's fairly noisy here. That is something I'm looking forward to in the.
I don't know if you can hear.
I don't know whether you guys can hear me, but I just kept talking just in case. Okay, so
I need to be on a board.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, my dinner looks amazing.
All right, I'll pour it into the
thermoserver.
thermoserver. It might be easier.
Oh no, are you
table
going to share my tip on where you
Oh.
hold the bowl?
I always pick it up wrong so that you have the opportunity to tell me that one. Okay, so we've got 2 pinches of salt.
You probably, if you've put, I actually double the vegetable stock paste in that recipe, so then you don't need salt. But
Okay.
you do you.
Then, now what Victoria was pointing out before was that you can hold the bottom of the handle so that when you're pouring it, you don't have to tip your whole shoulder. It's more ergonomic for your shoulder. So there we go. Perfectly pureed pumpkin soup. And then you can garnish it with some basil. There it is.
That's beautiful. Now, how do you get a thermoserver? That's a limited edition one, but how would you get a thermoserver back?
So the thermoserver keeps your food hot or cold for up to 2 hours, and you can only get one by hosting a demonstration
or joining the team.
Oh, of course.
If you want to learn more about your Thermomix and about cooking and have lots of fun, great little side hobby or a good part-time income, you can come and join us and earn yourself a Thermomix and thousands of accessories as well.
Correct.
And a thermoserver.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our last Thermomix TM6 Master the Basics session. We will be doing our next one in our new TM7, which will be available for sale from the 3rd of June.